I have too much stuff in my pants.
You guys ever have one of those days where it's just hard? Today is one of those days. This is take 69 of today's video. And because I just said that, this is going to be the one that works. I can feel it. I've got a training course review headed your guys' way. And in my opinion, if you see a training course review pop up on a feed that you follow, whether it's this one or one in the future, that is the most important piece of content that you can consume all month. And it is far more important than any individual product review could ever hope to be, and here's why. Let's say, for instance, that you're going to purchase a new firearm. If it's a quality gun, it's going to cost you at least $500, sometimes more, sometimes much more, depending on what it is. A quality training course is also going to cost you about $500 or more, sometimes much more, depending on what it is. I don't know about you, but I can't just make $500 impulse purchases. Now, if you can, congratulations, capitalism worked for you. On top of that, if it's a quality course, let's say it's a 2-day course, you should shoot probably, and again, there are exceptions to this, depending on what it is. If it's a live fire course, it's going to cost you about 500 rounds of ammunition or more. Most of the time, you're going to have to supply that ammunition. So you've got a decent cost, but also, on top of all of that, you don't want to attend a dangerous course. That would be bad. And the internet's pretty good these days of weeding out dangerous courses. But along those same lines, you can also inhibit your individual growth as a shooter by attending a crappy course or a course that teaches something that's ass backwards. Now, a lot of people are going to turn their nose up at the figures that I just gave you and they'll be like, why on earth would I pay for them? A quality firearms training course is going to be easily 10 times the value of what you pay for it. For instance, you could figure out most of the stuff that I got rolling around up in here if you just purchased 150,000 rounds of ammunition, went out and shot it. However, that's going to cost you a lot more than a couple $500 courses and, maybe 500 rounds of ammunition or something like that each time. It's a fast track to figuring all the stuff out and making sure that you're employing good techniques when you're on your range practice, that sort of thing. Anyway, long story short, that's why course reviews are really important, and if somebody has taken the time to go out and take the course and then come back and take the time to report on it for you, that's valuable information for you so you can find the good stuff. Now, this one is called Carbine Vitals by my friend Daniel Shaw, and I've taken a course from him previously. It was his pistol course, and recently he has merged his training company with Gun Mag Warehouse. Ooh. Thank God for Life Proof. I'm going to do my best to not be a wingbag today. And to do that, I've broken this course down into 3 sections that I'm only going to spend a few minutes on each. First is the course overview. Second, the course progression. And third, my personal homework. Stay tuned to the end. I'm also going to include a bonus section on my critiques on how to improve the course. Now, before we do that, we do have to pay the bills. So we have a sponsor for today's video. And I actually tried for a while to find something that didn't conflict with Gun Mag Warehouse, because you got like quality training, good kit. They're expanding into like optics and some other endeavors as well. So it's like serious stuff here. We go the exact opposite. Goat Guns. Goat Guns is a miniature model company that specializes in high quality cast firearm replicas. What I have here is the M82A1 in black, also comes in tan. I wanted the M82 because it's the only M82 that I can afford. Having handled M82s before, this thing is pretty spot on, and it has a working trigger, selector, and bolt. The magazine even drops free and comes with 3 brass rounds. It's 1/3 scale, and as I mentioned, it's metal. So this thing comes in surprisingly heavy at almost a pound. If you're like me and you need to find some kind of utility for just about everything that you buy, I understand. This thing would make a pretty cool paperweight or a desk decoration, which is I think what Goat Guns is going for if you look at the literature on their website. They do have a variety of other models if 50 cal isn't your jam, so if you want to know more, catch up with them at goatguns.com. Special thanks to Goat Guns for helping produce today's video, and now we can do the entire course review without a commercial cliffhanger. Starting with course overview. Now, I know all y'all can read, and I am also one of those presenters that spends 10 hours on a PowerPoint presentation and then barely uses it. So pause the video if you need more time. Carbine Vitals is a course that starts at ground zero and works its way up. And I would say that the prerequisite experience for anyone wanting to take this course is knowing what end the bullets come out of. Maybe being able to put them in the magazine the right way. I don't think we ever covered that. You definitely aren't babied, but a person could conceivably pick up their first AR or AK and attend the course the same week. What then follows is what I can only describe as the same fundamental action with more shit bolted to it with each subsequent iteration. Get it proficient, and then start adding things to it. You're still doing that same thing, so you get more and more reps every single thing that you do. And that's one of the things that you should absolutely strive for.
Take a little blonde cunt hair more and get a good hit. Seeing a lot of berm hits down there. 3. You guys all shoot better than that.
I'm going to show you an excerpt from one of Daniel's presentations so you can see how the man does, but before we do, I got to tell you a story to set the tone. And we're about here on the course schedule, and I'm thinking, break time. I've seen malfunction clearance 1,000 times at this point in time. I'm going to pay attention, but I'm going to sleep on my feet, basically. Daniel walks up to the line and says, what are the different types of malfunctions? And I rattled them off real quick, type 1, type 2, type 3, and gave a short description of all of them. And he kind of gave me a look, and I think he was gaming that he had a standing encyclopedia on his range. He's like, thanks, man. We're going to start with double feeds. My brain's like, me thinks something is wrong here. So he sets up a double feed, the standard method, takes the round, drops it in the chamber, puts the loaded magazine in there, drops the bolt on it. And he looks right at me and he says, Curtis, how can this happen? And it was like he bitch slapped me. Wake the f up, because it can't. And he did each of these things for each of the subsequent malfunctions.
And now I set up a stovepipe. What's wrong with this?
It didn't slam into the bolt, didn't slam into the brass.
Yeah, so I chambered that round. I locked the round into place. So if I lock this round into place, the one that's going in the chamber, that's the time it engages on the extractor. If you look at this, look when this engages on the extractor. Still not on there. Still not on there. It's got to go all the way forward and lock on that round right there and to engage that casing, that cartridge on the extractor. Now it'll pull it out. So if I set up this fake stovepipe where now I put it in the chamber and I pull it out and just put that piece of brass in there, somebody tell me how that can happen in reality while I'm shooting. The only way this could happen is if I chambered around and then the gun's like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and back this out. A little bit of gas left in the gas tube, pushes it back, right? Like it's freaking self-aware. It sends out a tractor beam, pulls up around a casing, puts it back in there. This is impossible to occur. There's no way this can happen. This round is already ejected if that round in the chamber is engaged on the extractor. There's no way this can occur. This is always going to get cleared by racking because it's going to kick that round out of the way. It's always going to clear it because it's a fake stoppage. It's not a real stoppage. A real stoppage.
And I'm like, wow, I thought I was going to sleep. My brain started going 1,000 miles a minute. And actually, we're going to do a dedicated video on the double feed situation because there's something that I've kind of detected that may be a real thing from taking this course, depending on the equipment that you're using. Stay tuned. Course progression. So on the website, Daniel gives this course a rating of moderate difficulty. And in my opinion, that rating is a composite score between a 4-part course. Morning of day 1, afternoon day 1, morning day 2, afternoon day 2. And they kind of rank like this: easy, intriguing, challenging, and uncomfortable. The course takes anyone of any level and sets a standard of fundamentals and accuracy. Those standards are then balanced against urgency, and from there you are thrown into an ever-increasing puzzle of critical thinking, problem-solving difficulty, mostly based on individual skills development and a graduation to single teammate management. The course basically stayed on target the entire time, on schedule, if you will, with barely enough time to stuff magazines and drink water. So if you're looking for a course where you just basically lounge around the whole time, this one's not for you. You are working and learning the whole time that you were out there. I suppose maybe if you had like 3 flights in this course, then you might have a little bit more downtime. We had 1 flight and we just churned and burned. Now, ultimately, everybody said that they had a tangible improvement of some sort throughout the course. But actually, that's not what I focus on when I attend a course like this. I want to fail. And basically the way this course was set up is I had my moments of proficiency. We're talking that unconscious competency level thing where it just happens. Like you just basically go into autopilot and the thing just happens, and it happens very well and very efficiently. However, surrounding all of that high ground were some very, very low ditches of humbling experience. I was very excited to take this course because if you don't remember, I was injured this year. I broke my hand. I wanted one of those kind of like set the tone for improvement, coming off of that injury. To be completely honest, I'm not completely back to 100%. At the time of this course, I was about 80%. I had some problems because, hey, I still had to work. I still had to shoot. And I still had to do stuff when I was injured. And some of those bad habits are there. So the first thing that I need to work on, my homework, if you will, and this showed up very, very early in the training course when we were zeroing. And I had detected this prior to the course, but I just assumed that it was just, intermittent, and it's way worse than I thought it was going to be. Because I broke my hand, I developed a response to recoil that nobody else on the planet I feel has. I would literally let go of the pistol grip. And never ever has this action helped mitigate recoil on my hand or saved me pain from a firearm recoiling. 80% of my shots at the 50-yard from standing position be like that. And then the other ones would be some persuasion of high. Now, it got a lot better by the end of the course, but there are a few times that I was just frustrated with myself because who lets go of their gun when they break the trigger? What the hell? Which brings me to the second thing that I have for homework, and I'm going to try to say this without being a pompous ass, but my physical fitness is very important to me. I spend 6 days a week at the gym, sometimes 7 depending on how it's going, and it's something that I enjoy doing. I have 2 gym memberships, for crying out loud. I even went 6 days a week when I was injured. I found some stuff to do. Because of that, my cardio's halfway decent. I'm used to just being able to roll in and be strong. I can hold my gun up for forever. Because I let my physical fitness slide a little bit, I went to basically turn that switch on and it didn't work. And I'm like, well, what's going on here? Internally, I realized that Curtis needs to start running again. And then, as promised, bonus section. Daniel, I'm speaking right to you, buddy. I know that you're a Marine and that you're tough, but we got to work on your heat management skills, my friend. When it's 100 degrees outside in the Midwest, it is almost certainly 100% humidity, especially if it's been raining. And it's hot. It's simple. Move the demonstration 10 feet to the right under the shade. Just for that portion. Maybe give us an extra 3 minutes to drink some water. Alrighty, guys. Well, that about wraps up my course review of Carbine Vitals from Daniel Shaw through Gun Mag Warehouse. Definitely something that should be on your radar. Now, I tried to be brief, and I tried not to give away the secret sauce, because if I give 5% of the information through a video, then there's a group of people that will not seek out the other 95%. And it may even, for a course like this, it's probably even an order of magnitude greater than that. But the idea is, I don't want to wreck the guy's course by giving information out that you should attend the course to see, because to be honest, you can't get all of that quality learning through a video. You can do a lot of things through video today. That's not one of them. You actually have to go attend the courses. On your left. And also, if you have a particular course that you think that I should check out, then sound off in the comments section down below. If you're shy and you don't want to leave a comment, I understand. Please consider pushing some of the other buttons on the screen, because it really helps out with the algorithm. And if you feel so inclined, please think about supporting the VSO Gun Channel over on Patreon and subscribe to our directly, or consider visiting our affiliates page where we have links and codes to companies that we stand behind.